Hey, so I've been listening to an audiobook all about how to write more if you're a PhD student or a novelist or just a college professor. It's written by a psychology professor, actually. And it very fittingly is called How to Write a Lot. One of the things he talks about that seems like a duh no-brainer is you will write more by setting aside time to actually write, putting it on your calendar, making sure you do it. One of the things that was pretty interesting is there's a study where they broke people up into three groups: people who were told don't write, people who were told write whenever you feel like writing, and people who were told like, hey, you must write every day, and if you don't write every day, there's some type of consequence for not writing every day. And you'd think, well, yeah, of course, the people with the consequence will write more, which is true. That's exactly what happened. The people with the consequence wrote more. But what was more interesting is the people who were told, like, write kind of whenever you feel like it, barely wrote more than the people who were told, like, don't write at all. And if you're really self aware, that kind of makes sense. The things we know we should do are the things we don't do, and the things that we put on our calendar and schedule, and there are consequences if we don't like, those are the things we do. It's why a lot of us feel like we work so much better under pressure and a deadline. And this book got me thinking, maybe we actually don't work better under a deadline. Like maybe the deadline motivates me to get work done, but if I had a different way to get my work done and be motivated, I actually have better results. And I've talked about this before. What you put on your calendar, what you actually plan for, that's the stuff that you will actually do. And if you don't put it on your calendar and you don't make a plan for doing it, then you won't do it. And there's actually an article, a research article I stumbled across from, oh gosh, who is it? The Harvard Kennedy School, the Wharton School, and the Harvard Business School, all about how making a plan actually leads to better results for things. And I'll put a link to the article down in the description, and I'll probably link to the book too. But the thing that was interesting is that making a plan to do something made you more likely to do that thing. And making a plan is not just thinking, oh, I want to do this, but it's saying, okay, tomorrow I want to make sure I do X thing between 9 and 10 o'clock tomorrow. And I'm going to make sure all of these things are prepared so I can actually do that thing tomorrow. Like just walking through that in your brain, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this thing. That leads to a greater chance that you will actually do the thing. Trick myself into doing work by saying, well, self, we're going to come up with this plan and we're going to make sure that we do the thing that we are bad at doing. And that got me thinking even more that the things we want to do are not often the things we do. And so we look at it and go, man, I didn't accomplish this thing. I'm such a failure. I must be really bad at my job or my role, or I'm never going to get my goals accomplished, whatever it is. And we look at people who are doing all the things that we want to be doing, that we view as successful, whatever that bar is, whether you're a principal who looks at somebody else who's just like crushing it in their role and they seem to love their job and they have all these things accomplished and people say all these wonderful nice things about them, or you're a writer and you look at all the people doing writing way better than you are. And there are two things there that I think are really important. One, you will ever only hear about their successes. We only see the good things a lot of the time, and you will only ever hear about their failures if it's some huge ridiculous fall from grace. Otherwise, that's just par for the course. People mess up all the time. So don't think that their life is like that all the time. If somebody is telling you that they love everything they do and nothing ever goes wrong for them, either they are lying to you or they're not trying anything really that could lead to failure. They're not trying new things. They're not putting themselves out there. They're not actually putting effort forth because everything's just so easy, it's perfect. The other thing, and this is probably the easy thing, the difference between people who are doing something and people who are talking about doing something is one group of people just went out and did the thing. Things like writing when you're supposed to, doing your classroom visits when you're supposed to, making a video, setting up a camera, making sure that I have time to do this. And things like this don't always go that well. I mean, I make these videos for like 5 people, and that's fine. I enjoy doing it. And it gets done because I want to do it. And there are days when I don't want to do it, so I just don't do it. I mean, go through the videos. There's months of break in these because it's like, well, I didn't feel like it, so I didn't do it. And I think that's the big takeaway from the book if I had to pick a big takeaway. And I'm making a video, so I'm making myself pick a big takeaway, right? The successful thing is just doing the thing repeatedly over and over again. If I want to write, I need to put it on my calendar. I need to write and write and write and write. Every day when I say I'm going to write, I need to write. If I'm going to work on calling people to build connections for the school, I just need to call those people every day. Not the same person. Don't bother one person like that, right? But constantly reach out and make those new connections and do the thing. If I want to become better at pick a thing, I need to do it over and over again. And I'm going to get better results being consistent about it than I am if I just wait for the mood to strike me and wait for inspiration to fall from the sky and just figure out what's going to be the one thing that I won't have to work at. It'll just happen. But nothing just happens. Life doesn't really work that way. I wish it did. It would be a lot easier if sometimes things just happened. So what's the thing you've been putting off? What is that thing that you want to do right now? Get out a piece of paper, get out your phone, whatever it is, figure out how you're going to plan to do that thing tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. So years from now, when you look back, you don't go, oh man, if only I would have started. Because you did. You will. So tomorrow, whatever that thing is, start.